Good day, everyone. It's good to be back again. If you're new, please subscribe, like, and share. Usually give political analysis, especially about Kenya and Africa. And welcome. So today I'm going to be looking at is Rigathi Gachagua being played? Because of late, as we've been seeing, Rigathi Gachagua has been very vocal of the Ruto administration, a power play of all the top leaders. Rigathi Gachagua has been the one who's been very vocal. I assume that him being this vocal is he's speaking on behalf of the government because he's the vice president, and I assume that he since now Ruto has elevated to become the president. Probably to him now doing a lot of these interviews, he's delegated to his deputy, and now the deputy is the one that seems to be speaking on behalf of government, especially when it comes to passing the message so that it can be understood on the grassroots level. Ruto seems now to be to only have offered himself, the activities of meeting other government leaders, other leaders from other governments, pushing government policy because he's a top diplomat internationally and even in the national government. And Rigathi Gachagua seems to now have taken the position of now, simplifying the manifesto or the policies of the government to the citizens through probably the media. And I find it interesting because Rigathi Gachagua has, because of him being vocal, and the reason I'm asking is he being played because him being vocal, it's also a chance for him to market himself as a future leader, to try and and put his image out there, because a lot of people didn't know Rigathi Gachagua until he was nominated as the vice president of Ruto. But for a long time, even since the campaigns of 2018, I always suspected that Rigathi Gachagua would be chosen as the deputy president because at that time, I didn't, I wasn't doing the political analysis on this channel, but I was following the political activities in Kenya, especially I was seeing how Ruto and Azimio were doing. And it was very evident to me that Rigathi Gachagua was the only viable person to be picked as running mate. I always felt that Ishungwa didn't have that prowess or that maturity into politics, or Dindi. And Kethuke Kendiri, I felt he was more of a diplomatic person. But Rigathi, he stood with Ruto so much, during his campaign. He was very vocal. If you used to follow Rigathi, even before, now that he's talking on television, even before, if you used to follow the campaign, you'd realize that Rigathi made a lot of TV appearances from Citizen, KTN. In fact, there were several interviews when he was in KTN where he always used to argue with Murathe. KTN used to call Rigathi and Murathe. In Citizen, he always to be called and argue with Gladys Wanga. Try to to promote their policy. So Rigathi has been a very media person, especially when it came to the campaigns till the election. He was the face. Ruto was making more of a town halls kind of meeting. His Ruto's meetings were more a bit professional, planned. It was more of a town hall, where journalists could ask questions and you could respond. The meetings were more of, I don't want to say unprofessional. They were professional, but it was more of, they weren't planned strategically. They were the meetings that one is called on a TV station, let's say today at 9, and then you discuss with another opponent, and in those kind of meetings, things can get a little bloody, messy. You 1, 2, 3, you might throw some jabs in there. You might criticize someone. I remember an interview where even Rigathi was telling Murathe, before Uhuru Kenyatta became president, you're bankrupt, but now you're a rich man. So, Rigathi interviews allowed him to maneuver in that kind of way, to throw some jabs, even though they were moderated, but they weren't as serious as Ruto's interview. And now it seems that Rigathi has continued the same momentum, because after the government has taken over, we can see that he's the one who's doing the interviews. And I suspect two things. Either he's continuing the same system that he had in terms of trying to promote himself as probably the next person to succeed President Ruto, because he has now to build himself. Remember, even when Ruto became vice president under the Uhuru administration in 2013, nobody thought that President Ruto would be the president. You know, okay, there was that talk he will be, but it wasn't as concrete. You know, no one really, if you went back in 2011, 2012 and told people, you know, after Ruto might become president, people will have brushed it off. So Rigathi probably has studied the game, and he has understood for him also to become that relevant, because he's coming now as an underdog. No one knows his voice, so he's marketing himself. He wants probably to create a portfolio for the next 10 years to be a force to be reckoned with. That's why he's making these TV appearances. He's continuing the same trajectory. Remember, I've said even before the election happened, even when they were campaigning, Rigathi Gachagua was doing more interviews. If you watch the TVs, he followed the TV stations, he was everywhere. He was even in the Kikuyu stations, you know, he went in even in the Kalenjin stations, he came to NTV, KTN, Citizen. So he was maneuvering. So I feel like he's marketing. Another thing I feel, you know, it could be also a trap, because Rigathi has been of late been seen to be a very you know, he's holding a lot of resentment, especially to the former president Uhuru Kenyatta, you know, criticizing his government. We all understand that things were not going well in the former Uhuru Kenyatta's government, but now there's a new administration. So the fact that he's holding this resentment, remember he was talking negative about the government when they were campaigning. That was allowed because it was a campaign mode. But now you have taken the government, you're in the government. Why again are you criticizing the you know, living in the past? And this also could be a trap, because it could also put in question, people might start now asking, if this guy is holding resentment, what if we elect him to become president? Will he pursue, you know, revenge missions? You know, and this is very risky. So regardless, this interview, he must be very, very strategic when it comes to this interview. He must address what his party and what his government promised Kenyans and deliver. No side shows, no targeting Uhuru Kenyatta, you know, the former government, you know, people like Matiang'i Kibicho. No, we know the story. He needs to be very, very careful, because there's a saying that says some people help you just to destroy you, you know. So the fact that Rigathi has been uplifted to become vice president, you know, by the UDA machinery, you know, the UDA supporters, apart from the president might have very good faith in Rigathi, but you know, Rigathi is also competing with other UDA leaders who are also ambitious. Let's not forget, people like Musalia also have a vision of becoming the president of Kenya. I'm sure someone like Motua also wants to be somewhere. So Rigathi is not guaranteed that if Ruto leaves, is going to be given. So there could, you know, he might be elevated to the vice president status, but it also could be his own demise in terms of his political career. He should be very strategic. Every time he comes to the media talking, he should make sure he articulates government issues. If that is the game plan, they've decided that Rigathi will be the one who will be simplifying the government policy, so that the common mwananchi can understand the TV station, the Citizens, KTN, the whatsoever. He should make sure that he sticks to that formula. And all these distractions, all this of living in the past, these are just distractions. And he should be very careful, because Kenyans are watching. Kenyans have started asking questions. Why are you living in the past? You know, in fact, Kenyans we were more affected by the bad economic decision of the Uhuru government more than you, Rigathi. As you are feeling more the pain more, you know, at least you are the vice president now. You're in a good position. But as you are not living in bitterness, it seems that way. And that's what I'm saying, is Rigathi Gachagua being played, or is he playing himself? Because he needs to be very, very strategic going forward. I will advise him to reduce the appearances, to not act like the campaign is not over, because it seems that he is also suffering from the same issues that the President Ruto, when he was deputy, suffered. He was being accused he has started campaigning early. So he should take his time first and try to strategize. First they form the cabinet, they get their ministers in, they start working, and now he can start articulating and defending the government and trying to show. But all these interviews, all these appearances are really putting into question. I hope he's not now in the position where he feels now, since a lot of people since a lot of people didn't support me from the previous government, now I'm the boss, now I'm gonna do. I hope he doesn't have pride. I was reading the Star yesterday. I think this is the Star today. It was saying the front page that Rigathi telling Azimio, no, it's our turn to eat. Statements like those or analogies like those, he needs to be very careful. He needs to tread carefully. There's a lot of people, even in the UDF fraternity, who might be angling to take over the Ruto after Ruto presidency. They are very happy. Probably he's destroying the image. So there are people probably who are feeling like, let him continue, let him burn all these bridges, because Rigathi is not the only principal. Why is not Musalia talking? Why is not Alfred Mutua talking? Why is not Wetangula talking? So he should be very, very, very strategic. He needs, under laws of power, he needs to conceal his intentions and be only talk when necessary, and reduce his appearance. He should play the act of being invisible and creating the demand. People can ask, where is Rigathi? Come and talk to us. He should not saturate us with his appearances every time. He should be very strategic, and he should also learn from the other principals. The other principals are not talking. Musalia is very quiet. Wetangula is very quiet. They are working. You see, Wetangula is whipping the parliament. He's doing what he got there to do. So he should be very strategic. And I hope Rigathi sees that these appearances are now becoming too common, and once people get used to something, they don't appreciate it. Anyway, guys, it's always a pleasure to come and interact. Please like, subscribe, and share. And all those who have been interacting with me, thank you so much. Till next time. Bye.